Well, welcome back to another Coffee and a Chat. Do you mind if I just kind of miss my mom a little bit with you? Years ago, okay, wait. First, my family, when I was growing up, we probably put more value in making gifts for each other and being creative than we did in, a store-bought gift. Ever so often, there was something that somebody really, really wanted, and so they might get it, that would be store-bought. Like I know what was I, probably 14, it was probably my 14th birthday, and I wanted a Living Bible really bad. That was kind of new at the time. And when I had been to camp that summer, my counselor had a Living Bible. And so she used to read to us out of it every night before we went to sleep. And we'd read again in the morning. And then we had afternoon devotions. It was church camp. And so there were a lot of devotions. But I just loved how it was written. It's a paraphrase, not a translation, which simply means it's not been translated from the original language directly over, but it takes something that was already translated and then just puts it in the person's own words. And it was written in a storybook form. So it is, to this day, Marvin has one of them. I still had the Living Bible that I got for my 14th birthday. And I think it was a couple of years ago when my granddaughter was here that she took it, which was fine. I'm always giving away stuff and because I got so much stuff. And if, don't wait till I die if you want it, and I can part with it, you can have it now. And so I believe that Shekinah has my Living Bible, but I still had another one in my mass collection of Bibles from all different members of the family. And so Marvin and I have one of them in the war room. So sometimes when we're reading scripture, we'll read it out of different translations and then we'll read it out of the Living Bible. But I just love that so much. And I told my parents that that was the only thing I wanted for my birthday. I didn't care if I got anything else. I wanted that. Now, camp was in the summer. My birthday was in December. So I had to wait a long time. And I got I remember getting like these dopey little gifts, that people had gotten me, my brothers and my mom and dad, and they did it on purpose because every time I opened the gift and it wasn't a Living Bible, I was disappointed because they wrapped everything to look like it could be a box that would hold a Living Bible. Well, then my mom goes, "There's one more gift for you," and she brought out this big box that had, was all wrapped pretty with a big bow, and it looked like it was probably a bathrobe. Yeah, probably a bathrobe. Not that I couldn't have used another bathrobe, but that meant no Living Bible. And that was the only thing I wanted. So I'm trying to act grateful and happy and not show my disappointment. And so when I opened it, I think there was a robe or something or just a piece of material so that when I opened it, that's what I thought. But then as I began to pull it out of the box, there was something inside of it. And yes, it was my Living Bible. I was so excited. I didn't care about anything else. And I immediately sat down and started reading to them out of it. My dad was like, wow, okay, we did get her the right thing. She wasn't kidding when she said that's what she wanted. And so that Bible now is, oh my word, probably just about the whole Bible's underlined in all different colors and notes and stuff. I just loved reading things out of the Living Bible for many years. So there were times where there were things like that when we would get a store-bought gift because, it was something special that you couldn't make. But most of the time what we did was we made gifts and I loved it. I still would prefer to get something that somebody made for me. It just, I don't know, it seems so much more personal. So for Mother's Day, when I was like, I don't know, 22, 24, somewhere in there, and probably my early to mid 20s, I made this for my mom for Mother's Day. Okay. And I'm looking at it there and that thing needs to be cleaned. Anyway, it was a big canister and there's all these little pieces of paper wrapped up in there. And this used to be very full. There were 366 pieces of paper rolled up just like this, tied with a little piece of yarn. And it was so that there would be one for every day out of the year that my mom could pull out a little message that I left her, and I did 366 because it was a leap year. And I thought, when she would open them, that she would end up, just tossing it after she read it, and then when she'd get to the bottom and all the little pieces of paper were gone, she could put something else in the canister. But that's not what my mom did. She kept all of them, and she would pull out more than one a day. When I lived a distance from her, and when she'd miss me, she would go and get another one and stuff. So anyway, my parents lived with Marvin and I the last few years of their life. And so when they passed away, I've got all their stuff. And which, if you've been with me for a while, you know that stuff gets overwhelming, and I'm just trying to move it out, let go of all my sentimental attachments, and let things go. But this canister sits on a table that I walk by all the time, and I ever so often I'll pull something out. Now, it's not as full as it used to be, because there were things that's just like, I love you, I miss you, you're an awesome mom, stuff like that were just in there. And so when I find one of those, I don't usually keep that. But ever so often, I come across something like I did today, where I reached in and I pulled out one of these. And it is a memory. And on it says, "Thanks for bringing the pizza makings up to us at camp. I was so homesick, and it was so wonderful to see you. The pizza was just extra." Okay, so what this was the summer that I was 16. I spent the entire summer working at the church camp. And I had gone through something that spring that was extremely traumatic for me. And I just wasn't pulling back very good. It was life-changing, okay? And it was awful. And that's why I'm not going to just say what it was, because it doesn't really matter. But it might trigger some of you guys, as they say, because it was a really awful thing. And you'll know when most of you will understand when I say that 3 out of 5 of you have had this happen to you. If you're a woman, and what is it, like 2 out of 5, they think, if you're a guy. So it was a horrible, traumatic situation. And so I had asked my parents if I could go for the summer and work at camp. And so they were not really big on letting me be gone for a whole summer and do something like that. But my dad was like, "I think this will be good for you." And so I just wanted to go and just be with God in nature, and do whatever I needed to do working at the camp, and just try to find some peace and to work through some things. So while I was there, it was a great summer. It really was. I mean, there were some hard things to it, but it really was a really good summer of being able to really press in with God under trying circumstances. I'll say that it was not that easy to press in with God, which is kind of part of why I wanted to be in a Christian environment for the summer, because I thought that would help, and it did. But there were times when I would get so homesick. And I remember, now listen, I have not thought about this probably since around the time I wrote it on this piece of paper. Well, actually typed it on the piece of paper and put it in the canister for my mom. I forgot all about this time when they brought all this stuff up to make pizzas. And when I saw that today, it's like that memory comes flooding back, right? And bear with me, like I retold a story yesterday or the day before or whatever, and I may not always get it exactly right, and that just drives me nuts. But you're getting older, you're getting farther away from it, and sometimes you don't always remember all the details just the same. So, but that stresses me out, because always I want to be honest. I want to, So I guess I should say my recollection as of today of this event was this. So part of the time that I was there, I was actually a counselor for the younger kids. When they would come in, they would move me into a cabin, and I would be a counselor. And my name was Cricket, because I made lots of noise at night. your kids named you. You know, your first group of campers would name you, and then that would be your name for the summer. So I was Cricket because I'm noisy at night, and I still am. Okay, so I also, if I wasn't working as a counselor, then I just was on staff, and maybe I would be working in the kitchen for the week, or maybe sometimes I ran the camp bookstore. Sometimes I worked in the canteen. I mean, I was a rowboat lifeguard, so I'd go rescue all the kids that would go out in the lake on a rowboat and then couldn't get themselves back in. I think they did it on purpose just to give me the workout. But, I had lots of jobs. Well, this particular week, I was working the early morning shift in the kitchen. And so I would move around a lot, depending on what you were doing, you would move around. And so this particular week, I was way up in the forest in an old mobile home with probably 4 or 5 other girls. And it was a hard week, very hard on me. And I was struggling, and I didn't feel good. And I just got to a point, I just wanted my mom. I missed my mom. I was so homesick. I even missed my dad. I might have maybe even missed my brothers, but I don't know. So anyway, I remember telling my best friend that I had made there, I think her name was Teresa. I remember it was so long ago. And so, that was like 50 years ago. And so, anyway, I had told her I was homesick, and so we would pray about it, because I just wasn't shaking it. And I had asked the Lord, if there was some way to just help me get through this, because I just was not able to shake it. And I think that a lot of it was because I wasn't feeling very good. And so this one day, later in the day, it wasn't to the evening meal yet, but the head honcho came and got me and said, "Hey, you've got some visitors, and you and the other girls that are in your trailer are excused from the evening meal tonight." And I'm like, what? Like, I'm thinking, what? We're going to all starve to death? And he's like, somebody has come that would like to have dinner with you girls, and they've especially come to see you. Well, I was just like, I had no idea what was going on. And so then he goes, well, let me take you out, and show you where they're parked. And so we walked out into the parking lot up there at the main office, and there was my mom and dad. And they had brought all the fixings for homemade pizza. My mom had already made up the dough, and it was still rising, and she had the sauce and all the different fixings. I mean, they brought a ton of stuff so we could make whatever pizzas we want. And she had brought these little pie pans so we could make, personal size, so everybody can make whatever pizza they want and have as much as they want. Well, we had a ball doing it, but for me, just the fact that my mom and dad were there was so healing to me. And I don't know if the head honcho, as we called him, he was an older pastor, and I don't know if he called my mom and dad, if he knew. Maybe Teresa told him that I was homesick. So I don't know if he had called and asked them come up, or if God had laid it on their heart or what. I just know that my mom and dad showed up when I really, really needed him. And the only ones that I had talked to about it was my friend and Jesus, who was also my friend. And so I just, to me, it was an answer to prayer. This was what I needed. And so, it was a wonderful night. In fact, after dinner, a bunch of the guy counselors showed up, more girl counselors showed up. Anybody that found out that what was going on up at the staff trailer kind of came by just to see if maybe we had an extra piece of pizza, because that was, you didn't get pizza for camp food, that's for sure. And camp food tended to be the same over and over and over again. And so it was a very welcome thing. But that just tonight, when I had pulled that out of there and saw that, it just blessed me to remember how much that I believe God cares about me that he would work it out, whether it was Larry calling or just my mom and dad feeling the need, or even maybe Teresa had called them. I don't know. But God made sure, however he did it, that my mom and dad came and were there and spent some time with me. And I was good to go after that. I don't think I did get homesick again after that. That was about the middle part of the summer. And I was fine. And I did have a couple of trips to go home because my oldest brother got married, so I had to go back for the wedding. And it seems like there was one other thing that I had to go home for one weekend. So I did get to go home a couple of times after that. But up to that point, I had not. And I was just there. So it was a healing summer. I have lots of wonderful memories. Yeah, it was one of the best summers of my life. And spiritually, it really made a difference in my life. So I just thought I'd share that little memory with you guys. It makes me miss my mom and my dad. And if they were still here, I could ask them, how did you guys know to come up there? But they're not here anymore. They're having a party with Jesus tonight, so I can't ask them. But yes, I am thankful for good parents, awesome parents. I was very, very blessed in that department. I was very blessed, and I am definitely blessed that God loves me and that He cares about me and has made a way for me to have a relationship with Him. I hope you have that relationship with Him for yourself. I do, you guys. That's the point of this. I think when I first started this channel, I was thinking that, I'm so far away from my kids, my grandkids, and if they ever missed me or thought about me, they could just turn YouTube on and there I'd be, which that's the case. And I do have some of them that watch, but I also thought, I'm going to be leaving a legacy for them. I want to leave recordings of my stories and things God's taught me. And so in the very beginning, when I first had thoughts about this, that's all I saw. That's all I was really thinking it would ever be, as just a way to connect with my kids. But God had something much more in His plans for this. And no, it's not some huge big channel, which is fine with me. I'm not a YouTube superstar, nor do I want to be. But I've had an opportunity to meet some of you via the internet, and maybe one day in person, definitely in heaven. I have been so encouraged by you guys, and I have been amazed at what God's done, and it's put new life in me, kind of like my mom and dad bringing that pizza that night. I was really hurting, and I was really needing them to kind of get me back on track. And in a lot of ways, I think I needed this YouTube channel to help me do that too, because I am somebody who is used to being in ministry one way or another. And several years ago, that just all was cut off for me. And I, relocated. And when I relocated, I'm in a place where, I don't know a bunch of people. I know my husband and he knows everybody, but I don't have the contacts I had. Nobody here knew me. They have no idea. Most people have no idea what my life was before I came here. And the opportunities of ministry just haven't really been there. Especially not like what I was used to doing in ministry. This is okay for me because I did work in radio for a while. I did work in television for a while. Not that I wanted to, but I kind of was put in that position. And so, and I used to do, believe it or not, I used to do some public speaking, but I wasn't, I don't know. I was more together than I am now. Yeah, I don't know. But I think I was really feeling kind of lost. And I didn't realize how lost I was feeling and of no use until God told me get up that morning and go make my welcome video for my YouTube channel. And and he showed me how to upload it, and we got this thing started, and we've been here, Jesus and I coming into your home every time you'll let us in, but we've been doing this for months. And it's been fun. It's a ball. It's a blast. Not because of getting to tell the stories or whatever, but because God's doing something with it. And I don't know if you can understand that unless you kind of have that thing in you too, that to me, the greatest thing is when God can use me somehow for his kingdom, for his purpose. That is the ultimate. That is what gives me more joy, more pleasure than anything could ever do for me. And so when God opened this door, it was awesome. And I am so grateful to him every day that he gives me something to share, lets me pull a memory out of the, I got to pull a few more of those out because that was awesome. Didn't even realize that was in there. But, that he keeps, speaking to me and saying, here, why don't we share this today? And I'd like you to do that. And, and I'm trying to really be in better communication with God. It's helped me be more on track, I think, spiritually. And I think it's done that for some other people too. So I'm very grateful for this platform for however long it lasts. I don't know, because every day could be the last day. You just never know what's going to happen in life, or, when they're going to shut things down or tell you can't talk about Jesus anymore because it offends people or whatever. But for right now, this is the door he's opened for me, and I am loving it. So, okay, I love you guys. I'm going to let you go, and I heard Marvin come in, so I'm going to go see what he's been up to. I know this is a week he can hunt, and I know he was going to go check one of his deer stands, so he's probably going to go hunting tomorrow or so. But anyway, you guys have an awesome day. If he does go hunting, pray we get a deer, because that would be really nice to have to throw that in our freezer. All right, I love you guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow.